Congratulations, Jim. I'd just like to point out that I had nothing to do with the selection. Might have had a bit to do with the process along the way, but it's very, very well deserved. And the people that were nominated, there's some incredible stories of what they've done, and it's a pity we don't hear more of their stories, but that is a great one. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Alexandra Gartmann, if we haven't worn her out already. Alexandra joined the Rural Bank as Chief Executive Officer in October 2015, having been a member of the board since November 2014. Before joining Rural Bank, Alexandra was the CEO of the Foundation for Rural and Regional Renewal, a charitable foundation based on a partnership between philanthropy, community, government, business, and supporting the economic prosperity of rural, regional and remote communities across Australia. Prior to this, Alexandra held the position of CEO of the Birchip Cropping Group for 10 years, a not-for-profit agricultural research organisation based in the Mallee-Wimmera region. She is also a member of the Prime Minister's Community Business Partnership and a member of the Victorian Agriculture Advisory Council. Alexandra was previously a member of the board of the Rural Finance Corporation of Victoria and was chair of the CSIRO Agricultural Advisory Council until 2017. Alexandra has been a member of the Crawford Fund, the National Rural Advisory Council, La Trobe University Regional Advisory Board, and Rural Industries Research and Development Corporation, which is now known as AgriFutures Australia. National Rural Issues Consultative Group was also on her list. She continues to be a champion for rural and regional Australia, so I'd like you to welcome Alexandra Gartmann.
Thank you very much, Chair of the College Council, Bruce Wilson, Principal Simon Livingston, Council members, staff, parents and friends and all those cheer squads out there. Most importantly, the students, our leaders of the future. It is an absolute privilege to have the opportunity to speak on such an important day in your lives. To the graduates, congratulations on beginning your career in the equine, agribusiness and agricultural industries. You are joining the most dynamic and exciting and sexy industry in the Australian economy. And we should not forget that, and we should not forget sharing that outside of these four walls. You're going to be leaving this institution armed with the relevant foundations in critical thinking and communication that studying at Marcus Oldham is renowned for, and you are either seeking to or kicking off a bright career in different roles, such as in the horse breeding industry, performance horse management, commodities trading, banking, farm management, be it corporate or family farm. 52% of graduates from Australian agricultural institutions, and Marcus Oldham particularly, get employed across regional Australia, and 37% go to our cities. 2% go overseas, and we had a couple of those come up on stage today, and 9% leave the agricultural sector realising that your passion is elsewhere. Agri-finance and retail sales are the most common employment categories. But for Marcus Oldham, a whopping 28% of you go to farm production compared to 10% nationally. And 26% head towards rural finance compared to 15% nationally. I'm a firm believer that our industry has a bright future, and the best days truly are ahead, even though we've heard some great stories about the past. But what the future looks like is still being written, and each of you has a vital role in helping to write our future. In fact, you are the only ones that can do that. The world now needs to grow more food in the next 40 years than we have in the past 10,000. There will be 2 billion additional people to feed and clothe by 2050. There will also be 2.7 billion in the middle class, right here on our doorstep in Asia. But society and the consumers out there demand more of the contributors, And maintaining our social licence to operate means constantly listening, responding and innovating to hold ourselves to the standards that our customers and society demands. And I'm not just saying that because I work for a bank, but I firmly believe that there are learnings for the Australian agricultural sector in that social licence. If we do things right, collectively, Australia will play a key role to help feed and clothe the world. But what role will you play? By 2030, automation, globalisation and flexibility will be what we do in every single job. The Foundation for Young Australians report from July this year told us that 85% of jobs in 2030 are yet to be invented. So the role that you're about to go to may not exist in 2030. Chances are that you will not be in the same job in 5 years' time. The report also revealed that today's 15-year-olds are likely to make 17 changes in employers across 5 different careers. And for those heading home to the farm, this applies equally to you. The farm enterprise you will run this year will be vastly different to the farm enterprise you run in 5, 10 or 20 years' time. So it's now less about the career ladder and more about the career lattice. This isn't scary. Far from it. I actually think it's exciting. Let me share a few of my learnings across the lattice of my career. From policy work in Canberra, to land care work in Western Australia, to farmer-driven R&D in Birchip, to rural philanthropy, and now leading a bank, with a couple of trips overseas to work in China and South America. I've shaped my career in agriculture and rural issues, and changed careers 5 times and experienced the diverse, challenging and rewarding sector in many different guises. Jim and others have said opportunities are available to you, but you will need to leverage the critical and strategic thinking and communication skills that you've honed while studying here to extract the best outcome for yourself, your business, your career and our industry. What you will study won't always be relevant, but what ways you studied and how you learnt will always be relevant and hold you in good stead. I attended university in Canberra, and all of my subjects were chosen to be as far away from possible as anything that was fluffy, that moved or spoke. I thought that spending my life working on rocks and soil and landscape processes would get my rocks off for the rest of my career. Not quite the case. So reflection 1, people and communication with people makes the world go round. My first turning point was writing a thesis about the legitimacy of the New South Wales catchment management structure and the people purporting to be leaders. I realised that people made things happen and people can hinder, but they are the key to everything. For those who are graduating today from equine studies, the horse rider or owner is the one you need to communicate with and influence to achieve your aims. For others, it will be the company CEO or the farm owner or perhaps family who you will need to influence to achieve your aims. And that is where your communication skills will truly be tested. Reflection number 2. Make sure you acquire a few backers, champions and mentors. When exploring a real job for the first time after university, I decided it would be Western Australia because I'd never been there. Kalingari, a town of 130 people, taught me so much. My mentors were key community leaders or future leaders. Some were starters, others were finishers, often not the same in the same individual. Some were behind the scenes, others just ploughed on through, and some got in and backed me. While the future is exciting, there will be times that you feel at your lowest. Think about some of those low times that you've had just trying to get through to get this qualification. You will feel like you're backed into a corner and someone's also turned out the lights. You will need champions, supporters, sounding boards, and people who just give you a good old wake-up call. Find the people who inspire you, who motivate you. They may be someone you see speaking at a field day or a conference, and from a distance you think that it resonates both with your heart and your head. They may be the person sitting at the desk next door to you when you start in an organisation at work, or they may be on the property next door. The old adage, if you don't ask, you don't get, rings true. A backer and a mentor cannot read your mind, so you need to ask them, because people love to talk about the things that they're passionate about and that they're good at, and help to chart a course with you. Reflection number 3. The backers could be beside you. Look to the person to your left. Look to the person to your left. Look to the person to your right. Thank you. These people will be critical for you as you navigate through your future. Don't forget about the network you have already invested in. They know where you've come from, and they will be experiencing some of the same ups and downs as you chart your career lattice. Reflection number 4. Understand the context of others. What excites you will not always excite other people. So you need to find what motivates and excites others, because you will be using that in each and every negotiation that you have. 3.5 years as a land care coordinator in the northern wheat belt of WA in my early career grounded me in the fundamentals of community-led success and the importance of people, and the importance of finding the right thing that got them excited. One of the things that I got excited about was having a direct impact on someone's life as an ambulance officer whilst I was there. Didn't always excite other people, but I must say those skills are sometimes very good at reviving people after a particularly boring bank meeting. But in all seriousness, this knowledge has been critical in negotiations. Finding a mutually agreed outcome, a win-win, or at least having parties equally unhappy, you need to know what excites the other party and think about the strategy to get that to them as part of the negotiation process. Every interaction in life and in business is about negotiation. Reflection number 5. Opportunity does knock. But our industry is particularly bad with industrial deafness. Or that might just be my other half, but I'm sure it's across the industry. Be open to opportunities for lattice movement, or trying something different in your career, in your farm, in your business. As Winston Churchill said, a pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. In 2001, I needed some balance in my professional career because I knew I lacked production and marketing knowledge. So the phone call from BCG and Ian McClelland, who is here today, was timely. Opportunity knocked. And in 2015, when opportunity knocked again, and I was quaking in my boots when I was asked to consider heading up a bank without ever working in a bank, I had to draw on all of my confidence to know that I could lead a business and get the best from others in order to squeak out, yes, I'll take the gig. Lesson and reflection number 6. If it doesn't kill you, it will make you stronger. Regularly reflect on that as you navigate your career. I remember just 3 months into my role with the Birchip Cropping Group in Birchip, population 700, that I was ready to quit. I remember that moment. I was actually lying on the couch and crying. But I realise now that the harder the task is, the more I'll dig my heels in. And I followed my mentor's advice. That mentor at the time was Lachlan Polkinghorne, who also used to be here at Marcus Oldham College. He said, take a bite and start chewing. And I'm so glad I did. There are plenty of people around that know the Heimlich manoeuvre, and they won't let you die. And it's proven to be a decade of personal development and growth. That mantra has sustained many a questioning moment, particularly when I said yes to the role of heading up Rural Bank, and within the last 24 hours, the reality of a Royal Commission. Looking at it as an opportunity to learn how to handle a different kind of situation. because the change is good and continuously learning and challenging yourself is even better. Reflection number 7. Feedback is a gift. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Bill Gates is quoted as saying, "We all need people who will give us feedback, and that is how we improve." If people give you feedback, it's because they are invested in you and want you to improve. That is extra effort for them to provide that feedback. For those of you who will be servicing customers, they care about the organisation and want the organisation to lift to the standards they expect. Same with a call for a Royal Commission, lifting the standard of an industry to the standard people expect. And in agriculture, consumers want food and fibre to be produced and animals to be treated as they expect. That feedback is a gift for us, and we need to be humble and respond to it. Often it is the most powerful when you can amplify the views and the experiences of others and be an advocate for our industry and respond to that feedback. Reflection number 8. Henry Ford said that anyone who stops learning is old, whether they're 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young, and the greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. So you are never too old to learn. You should never stop asking why. Because critical to the future of any industry, but undeniably for Australian agriculture and associated industry, is innovation and change. Rural and farming communities are ripe with tradition, but embracing change in the form of new technologies or approaches to farming smarter and delivering smarter will enable us to build a sustainable sector into the future, one that has its social licence. Many of you will work in or work with businesses focused on exactly this. I want us to challenge, debate, aspire, inspire, encourage, pull apart, criticise and reflect so that we can mould and shape new ideas, new attitudes, new visions to effect incremental, disruptive or transformational change. You are advocates. And it is your role to respectfully challenge the norm in order to see us into the future. By 2030, automation, globalisation and flexibility will change what we do in every job. And it doesn't matter if you're going back to work on the family farm or hoping to become the CEO of an agribusiness organisation. Our jobs are going to change. To prepare, we must urgently shift our understanding of what it will mean to be smart in the new work order. Researchers predict that future workers will on average spend 30% more time each week learning, 100% more time at work solving problems, wicked problems, and more than 77% more time using science, technology, maths and engineering skills that the same jobs demand now. Now, rather than responding to automation by choosing the right job, people need to acquire the right skills to succeed in an automated and globalised workplace. Your parents' generation may have used a simple recipe to succeed in their jobs, chose a profession, acquired foundational knowledge, and slowly became an expert. However, as career paths become less predictable and you're sliding sideways, up and down, you will need to be much more flexible than any of us have ever had to be. To be successful in the future world of work, you will need to continue to build your portfolio of skills, capabilities and networks. Today is not the end of your learning. It's really only the beginning. The door has just been pushed open. Make your own mark and don't conform to the label that you're currently given. I've been a banker, philanthropist, R&D person, extension officer, but at heart, it's really just a rural and agri-specialist in any sector. The qualification that you've just walked up here to receive is the start of a long and prosperous, dynamic, exciting career. But it is actually up to you to choose the path. You can take small steps, you can take leaps, you can leverage off others that you meet here and around the world. The degree from Marcus Oldham is a great first step. You're in exquisite company. The alumni you join today includes many people, such as Jim, who have hugely impressive achievements across our industry. Use the skills that you've learned here today and over the last years, months, days, it may feel like decades to some, to take yourself to that next level. I know that my higher education was critically important in kicking off my career as it opened doors and allowed me to embark on a hugely varied and dynamic agricultural opportunity. Your certificate is the ticket to the career you've always dreamed of, perhaps except for those 9% who might exit the sector. But you'll never know. It might just turn out to be completely different to what you have in mind now. I never ever envisaged when I graduated that I would be heading up a national bank. As you leave today, I challenge you to think about how you'll contribute to our industry during the decades ahead. What will you do to keep our rural communities strong? How will you embrace change and ultimately make a difference and leave a legacy? Finally, I thought I'd reflect on a great sports person and what they said. Pelé, a soccer player. He acknowledged that success is no accident. Hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, loving what you're doing and what you are learning to do is the critical ingredient. Life is not a race. You definitely don't want to get to the grave quickly. It is a journey, and the journey will throw things up at you that you never expected, but you can always choose how you react and which direction you turn. So go and enjoy, and I am thoroughly looking forward to seeing you in various guises in the industry or in my organisation, and creating the future that I will reflect on in my rocking chair that you have created. Thank you very much.